Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jack Stevens, and this is Equal Time. A controversial new book hits the shelves in just 2 days. The title, Drunk Drivers Against Mad Mothers and Other Things. The book, the author, and the idea is the subject of my investigation tonight, right here on Equal Time. To launch my investigation, I tracked down jailhouse author Jason Schmidt, who has now served half of his 30-year sentence for killing 2 teenagers while he was driving drunk. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, or MAD, played a crucial part in his conviction. While in prison, Jason founded Drunk Drivers Against Mad Mothers, or DDAMM, which now has over 100,000 members. Jason has been considered a model inmate and has been transferred to the pre-release program in Johnson County, Iowa. Jason, after 15 years, here you are in a pre-release program in Johnson County, at about the same time as your controversial new book is about to hit the shelves. The book is called Why Me? Drunk Drivers Against Mad Mothers and Other Things, and this is sure to become the manifesto of a new organization you've spearheaded. While in prison, 100,000 members strong across all 50 states. Tell us about that. Is this a movement?
Well, our political goals are very simple. We want drunk driving lanes in most major cities, and if possible in smaller cities. In bigger cities, it's easy because there's bus lanes, carpool lanes that can basically simply be used as drunk driving lanes at night.
Sure.
In smaller cities, lanes would just have to be dedicated to drunk drivers at night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
From 1 to 4, from 1 to 5, where the city has enough time to clean up the debris at the end of the night. Before the commuter traffic starts up again.
Sure.
Our second political goal is just to have a pre-release program for prisoners who are currently in prison for drunk driving and hitting somebody. Mm-hmm. And thirdly, we would like to push public programs where parents are encouraged and incentivized to take better care of their kids, so there's less people out there to be hit in the middle of the night when mostly drunk drivers are driving.
Sure. With Jason's help, we contacted another member of DDAMM who agreed to talk to us on the condition of anonymity. He routinely drives drunk because he needs his vehicle to drive to work early in the morning. His testimony of an incident that occurred on one of these lonely rides home is an Equal Time exclusive.
So, I was on my way home, and that's all I wanted to do was to go home. And thanks to MAD, I had to avoid the highway. So I had to take side streets, which I normally wouldn't want to do because I don't want to get into running over people. But MAD is watching the highways, so they prevented me from doing that. So I'm doing side streets and thump. Well, I didn't know or think about what that thump was until the next day. The next day I read about it and found out that, well, based on where I was at the time, I had ran over a kid. And it really sucks, because if I had just used the highway, that kid would still be alive. MAD is evil. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That kid would still be alive if it wasn't for MAD.
To get a fair and balanced report of both sides of the story, I traveled to Davenport, Iowa to talk to Nancy Rosenberg, who recently became a member of MAD after her 11-year-old son was killed by a drunk driver who hit a curb, lost control, and crashed the Dodge Stratus he was driving in Nancy's front yard. Nancy, thank you very much for allowing us to talk to you during what I'm sure is a very difficult time for you.
It's my pleasure.
Well, let me get right to the hard question here. Isn't this what happened at least a little bit your fault?
Excuse me?
Isn't it every parent's job to make sure that their children are at home, safe, particularly late at night?
He was home and killed by a drunk driver.
Was he?
Yes. He was at home and killed by a drunk driver. What are you talking about?
Well, your son was not at home, though, right? He was out in the front yard, late at night.
My front yard is part of my home, Mr. Stevens. And it's most certainly safe, if not for that murderer. And it wasn't late.
With all due respect, Nancy, according to this police report, which I'm sure you recognize, your son was outside your home, in the front yard, playing at 10:35 p.m. Are you saying what's in the police report is wrong? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Well, are we wrong to suggest then that you should accept maybe part of the responsibility for what happened, Nancy?
Who's we? And second of all, yes, you're extremely wrong. I think this interview's over.
But before you said...
Please get out, Mr. Stevens.
You want me to leave now?
Yes, now.
But just to clarify...
Leave!
Well, can I have just a little warm-up before I go?
You need to leave right now.
And that's my investigation for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, you heard both sides, right here on Equal Time.